Hello everyone, my name is Raj and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to take a look at how to import a Photoshop file into Unreal Engine 5.6. This is going to be a two-part tutorial. So in this part, we are only going to import it and see how we can separate the layers inside of Unreal. And in part 2, we are going to import the Photoshop file and see how we can make a material for the material designer with the Photoshop layers. So let's just quickly jump into the tutorial without wasting much time. Let me fire up Unreal Engine. Here in the Flamen video, I am going to select the blank template. You can select motion design, but it's better I show you here so that we know which plugins to turn on. So I will select the blank template and quickly give it a name, and I will save it to a file. To begin with, we have to turn on motion design plugin as well as the plugin to import Photoshop files. So let me go to edit, go to plugins, and first I'm going to search for motion design. And here I am going to turn on the motion design as well as Storm Sync, which we are not going to use, but still it's a good practice to turn this on when you're turning on motion design. So Storm Sync. Okay, it will ask you to restart, but we need to turn on one more thing. So I will just search for PSD, and here you have the PSD importer. Click turn this on. We can turn this on now, but we don't require it. We will take a look at this in part 2 of the tutorial. So let's leave it at that and just click on restart now. Now after the restart, we have everything that we need. The first thing that I will do is I will make an empty level. So right click and new level. I will call this motion design underscore PSD underscore 01. Double click to open it, save, and I need to turn on motion design. So once I click it, I can have the motion design interface. And before we move forward, we need to make the defaults. So I will click on create defaults and I will go with everything that's there and just hit spawn. Here are the defaults that we need. We have the camera, we have the light, and the post-process volume. Now let's go to Photoshop and check the file that I have. As you can see, I have 6 layers over here: the verses, the panda, the dragon, the thunderbolt, this spike thingy, and the background layer, right? Total of 6 layers. And you can see that in this panda logo and the dragon logo, I have the drop shadow layer effect added to it. If I turn this off, you can see I've added this just to show you what can be imported to Unreal at the moment and what cannot be done. So this is just for an example. And even if you check the spikes, the blend mode is in overlay. So we have 6 layers. Out of these 6 layers, 2 have layer effects, the drop shadow, and the spikes, the blend mode is in overlay. All right. So I will just minimize the Photoshop file, and here I will create a new folder under content, new folder, and I will call this PSD. I can right click and import to current folder. I will quickly find my file, which is this one, teams underscore 01, and I will just click on open. You can see there is this file that has been imported to the content browser. It says PSD document. If you have not enabled the PSD importer plugin, this would come in as a single texture, but now it has come in as a PSD document. If I double click and open, you can see this window pops up. Here you can see the size of the document, which is 1920 by 1080, and the layers. I have all the 6 layers. It even says that the spike layer is in the overlay blend mode, but let's see if it works or not. And in this folder, you can see all the images that were in the Photoshop file. So all you have to do now is just drag this like this into the viewport. Let me turn on the save frame. Let me just make this window a bit bigger. All right. So here is the Photoshop file. If you open this up, you can see you have each layer separate, right? If I select the dragon, I can move the dragon around. Similarly, the panda and all the other elements. Let me select the teams and just reset the location so that it's full screen. Now, if we compare this to the Photoshop file, you will notice 2 different things. One is that the spikes, they have not come in correctly, and also the layer effects have not come in correctly. The only way to fix the layer effects is to right click and rasterize the file. All right. but I'm not really sure how to fix the spikes. If you see the Photoshop document, it does say that it's an overlay, but there is no way of knowing how to get it. So far, Unreal is not able to import the layer effects and the blend mode correctly. I might be wrong, but maybe there is a fix. If someone knows how to do it, please do comment. And if not, I'm pretty sure Epic is working on this. For now, let's do one thing. Let's just go to Photoshop and rasterize this to layers. So right click and rasterize layer style, and right click and rasterize layer style. All the layers except the spikes are in normal blend mode, and the spikes is in the overlay mode, which will not come across correctly, but still let me just save this file. And here I will go and delete what we have done so far. Delete, and I will delete these files as well. Let me re-import the file. So right click and import to current folder and open. Just drag and drop here, and now you can see that I have the drop shadow over here. The only thing missing is the blend mode of the spikes, right? So just click on Teams, and I'm going to reset the location so that we have full view. Now the wonderful thing is that you have all the layers over here, and also if you go to the details panel under PSD, if you just increase this value, you can see the layers being distributed in 3D space. The way to view it would be to come out of the motion design camera and just go to default viewport, and here you can see that it indeed is being distributed in 3D layer. So obviously you can keyframe this value. Let's just go back to the default value, and let me jump back to the motion design viewport. And of course you can do a lot of things with this. You have all the 6 different layers. Let me save it. You can go to the sequencer. You can take your logos, you can take the layers. Suppose for example I take this dragon, select it, and in the location I set a keyframe at 00. Maybe I just move it out like this and set a keyframe once again and just bring it back in. And set another keyframe, and now you can do different type of animations. You can also go to your animation graph and do the kind of ease in and ease out that you please. The only thing we could not figure out is how to get the blend mode of the spikes. It's not in overlay mode. So if I come across something, I will definitely post it in the future video. But for now, I think I am not sure what to do with this. Maybe we could do something with the material, but then that becomes a bit complicated. So we will not touch that topic. So yeah, this is how you import a PSD file into Unreal. Let me just mention one more thing. What if you want to add some sort of a 3D band or a layer on top of the Photoshop file? Let's see how it works. Let me quickly jump to the motion design. Say for example, I want a 3D band here. So I will select the 3D shape and take a cube and just draw a cube like this. And now I do have a cube, you can see it here, but it's not showing up here, right? If I go out of my viewport and go to the default viewport, you can see that the cube is there. I can even move this completely out like this. But once it comes in front of the Photoshop file, it's getting obscured. So how to fix this? Let's go back to the motion design viewport. What you are going to do is you are going to select one of the Photoshop layers like this and search for sort, S-O-R-T. And you can see here the translucent sort priority. For the BG, it is set to 1. For the spikes, it's set to 2. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the sort priority for the Photoshop layer, the topmost sort priority is 6. So if you want to see the cube on top of everything, you're going to select the cube and just do the same search for sort, and you're going to change this to 7. And now the cube is on top of it, right? If I go out, it should work the way it's supposed to be. If this is on any other number, like if it is on 5, then it will be obscured by anything that is above 5. For example, the VS, sort priority of VS is 6. So 5 is less than 6. That's why we are seeing the VS on top of the cube. If you just want to be safe, like you have like say for example 15 different layers, just do one thing, just select the cube and instead of the highest, just go for a ridiculous number like 500 or something. And so whatever layers you add, it will always be on top of it. So this is something I wanted to add to this tutorial, a small tip. It might be useful to some. And in the next tutorial, what we are going to do is we are going to import a Photoshop file and we are going to see how to implement that SM material into the Material Designer. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial and I will see you in the next one.